The May 24th meeting of Development Governmental Relations Subcommittee, the Holyoke City Council. Let's see, on the committee here, we have Mike Sullivan, Pete Tallman, Howie GREANEY, myself, and for counselors not on the committee, we have Linda Vacan. Welcome, Linda. And Ward 2 Counselor, Acting Mayor Terry Murphy. Welcome, Terry. Let's see. I'm excited to announce we have minutes from the prior meeting. I'll get a motion to take that up, please. Motion's been made and seconded to remove from the table minutes from the prior meeting. All in favor? Aye.
All right.
Let's see. We had Jeff had February 22nd, and I know we had the March meeting too on there. So let me just scroll down for a second, Jeff. Hold on. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, these are really comprehensive and helpful. So yeah, they're really terrific. So I mean, and they're really great. I mean, minutes are just for historical purposes. It's a city council, it's a subcommittee level, and it's really you know, maybe at some point somebody has to do some research or so it's a nice reference. And the way Jeff does them, they're kind of time stamped, so it kind of helps supplement the actual tape, which is well, that's really the bottom line of the tape. Okay, so if everybody's good, does anybody have any minutes?
Very well written.
Mr. Chairman?
Councilor GREANEY?
I just want to say that I want to commend Jeffrey on these minutes. They're thorough, professional, and I've been reading minutes for many, many years. These are some of the best minutes I've ever seen. So thank you, Jeffrey.
Yeah, I'll second that as well, because I've said that before. They're very good and helpful. So
I'll make a motion to accept and approve the minutes of the last two meetings.
Second.
Motion made and second to accept the meeting minutes from the prior two meetings. On the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. If I could get a suspension of rules, and if we could take out of order agenda item number 4, please, that would be helpful.
Suspend the rules and take item number 4 off the table for discussion.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to suspend the rules, take agenda item 4 off the table. On the motion, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Mike Sullivan, that the law department send out demand letters to the insurance company under provisions of general law regarding business insurance sent to DGR. So so before us is Mike's order. I thought I signed on to this, but maybe I didn't. It doesn't matter at this stage. So Councilor Sullivan, we took this up, and I don't have the old I don't have the jacket with me now, but Jeff, do you have the jacket?
Not with me. I do have the order with me.
Okay. When did we take this up?
It was, so when was it referred this last time?
No, I know it was referred to, but when did we take it up the first time?
I saw a date on there from last. I did see one date on there from last late summer.
Okay. All right. So we took this up once. We tabled it for future reference. I know Mike Sullivan's here, but we also have the solicitor with us now. If I could get a motion to allow suspend the rules and allow the solicitor to address us on this, please.
Suspend the rules, allow the solicitor to speak.
Second.
Motion made second to allow Solicitor Lisa Ball to speak on the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so Mike, I did have a chance to speak to Lisa Ball this afternoon, and I asked Lisa to, well, she offered, and I accepted, to come address us on this matter tonight. So why don't we let Attorney Ball sort of speak to us on this matter from her perspective, give us a little bit of guidance, and then within that purview, we can perhaps ask a follow-up question. Okay, Mike?
Fine by me.
All right, Councilor Ball.
as a point of order, did we just take 4 off the table though, or 5?
It was 5. I think it was supposed to be 5.
Okay, because on my agenda it's 4.
Yeah, no, our agenda is 5, I think, right, Mike?
Mhm.
Okay, I have the,
5, yeah.
well, I promise you it's 4. Oh, you know what I see? Item 3 is item 3. There's 2 item 3s, and then item 4 is, it should be 5, and then item 6 is next meeting. Okay, so,
Well, let's suspend the rules and take item 5, which is the pertaining to the insurance company provisions.
Second.
motion made, okay,
Chairman,
yeah, we have well, we can leave the 4 before us, and that's okay. Motion made and seconded to take number 5 off the table. On the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yeah, sorry about that. My agenda has 2 number 3s on it, so I was looking
Chairman
at the
Bartley?
whole time.
first, apologies for that. Secondly, now that you clarified which item number, you took it up on October 7th of 2019 last.
Okay. All right, thank you. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, don't worry. Don't worry about it.
2019, okay.
Okay. All right, so that's been in the jacket for a while. All right, so the game plan. So before us is a matter. This is all relative to the Essex hotel. Okay, so that's. I'm sorry for the confusion, but it was it's my error. But now we know where we are. Attorney Ball, why don't you bring us up to speed on from your perspective, please?
Okay, so many of you may know, I mean, this matter dates back more than a few years. It's actually, it's being handled by Chuck Emma, who's outside counsel. He did send me a rather lengthy update on what's going on, which I've read through some of it, and I talked to Counselor Bartley a little bit about it today. It is an active litigation. I am definitely prepared to give you a summary of where it stands, but it really needs to be done in executive session. So what I had discussed with Counselor Bartley today is perhaps scheduling a time that I can come in and not only update the council on that matter, but maybe there may be other matters that need to be addressed as well. But this one in particular really does need to be addressed in executive session. So maybe we could schedule that for one of the June meetings, if that would work. So that's what I'd be prepared to do, is address this in executive session.
Okay, does anyone have a question to go through the chair to Attorney Ball on this matter? Counselor Sullivan.
Yep. Thank you. Through the chair, Lisa, I just want to bring you up to speed on what I've been told, and I don't believe any of this needs to be done. This part here needs to be done in executive session. The first time we brought this up, and this was brought up more than once, right? I was told that negotiations were in progress, and that filing sending these 2 letters, right, would upset things. Brought it up a second time. I was told we were close to an agreement and to be patient, right? And that it wouldn't be appropriate to do this at this point in the negotiations. The third time I brought it up, I was told, oh, yeah, 1 was sent. So how can I be told twice not to send it and then told the third time, oh, yeah, it was sent? So what doesn't need to be answered in executive session, right, is, was a letter sent or not?
So yes, there was. So you're asking if there was a letter sent. There was a letter sent. When I talked to Attorney Emma today, he did not view this as really a 93A claim, but more of a negligence claim. But that's as much as I really want to say about it here tonight. I do have a full summary. I just got it today. I mean, in fairness, I will absolutely be prepared to address the council on it. I just, it is in an active litigation stage, so there isn't much more, unfortunately, I can say tonight, but I am absolutely happy to discuss it.
I get that, but to Emma's statement that this was a negligence claim, we all get that. We've all understood that. but any of us that have been in business for a number of years understand that one of the tactics of the insurance companies who have to pay out on these negligence claims is just to drag their feet and drag their feet. They have unlimited resources and wear the other side down, which is exactly what has happened here. There's no question in my mind about that, right? And I always confuse these things. It sounds like highway routes, but the 93A and the 146B or whatever. And one of the other things I was told that the legal department was overwhelmed and this would be a tremendous burden. And speaking with other people, it's just a letter, and that is something that any clerk could send out. It's more of a notice and takes about 15 or 20 minutes work, and has nothing. It's directed at the tactics of the insurance company, not the basis of the claim itself. Am I correct in that?
Well, I don't think it was just a letter. There's a lot more to it than just that particular, sending a letter to insurance. There's a lot more to it. I think it would make more sense to you if I'm able to actually explain, the history as I understand it and what has happened. I think this happened in maybe 2014. So there's
yeah, it's 7 years old. I get all that. And that's why I think these notices needed to be sent out to start the clock ticking on the triple damages, the legal expenses, and the interest that they are putting themselves and their client at risk. And that's what usually forces them to bring this to a head and settle. I'm not a lawyer, but would you agree in general that that's the case?
It's hard for me. It's hard for me to tell you, that the case is going to settle. I don't have any reason to believe that it's going necessarily in that direction. There's a lot of moving parts with this, and I hate to say I'm getting up to speed, but unfortunately I've been there 2 weeks, so I am getting up to speed on a lot of things, and I don't know the history of this very well yet, but I'll certainly learn it and be able to tell you what I know, the whole council.
Okay, thank you. That's all the questions I had, Mr. Chair. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike. Any of the counselors have questions for legal at this stage? I don't see anyone with a hand raised. I don't, as a chair, I don't have any questions. Attorney Ball did give me a Reader's Digest summary today, and the summary really can only be put in discussed in executive session. So I can't go beyond that. So I'm going to recommend that we move this order back to the full city council and with recommendation that it was complied with. That's and now I'll do whatever the maker wants, however, but I think that if we do that, it would help add to the agenda for an executive session. Now, whether we can do one in June is an open question. I frankly would rather not, but that's me. June's a pretty busy month as it is with all the budget stuff, but whatever, I'll be available. So
if I may, David.
Go ahead, Mike.
So my original request was that the law department send out the demand letters to the insurance company. And I have now been assured that those letters were sent. So I am satisfied that the order was complied with. I've finally gotten a straight answer after several years, and I'd be fine with complied with.
Yeah, Mike, and you're not wrong on any of the stuff that you're referring. So I never heard of 93A or 176D is never used as highway markers, but I'm not gonna forget that going forward. So that's I'm gonna use that myself. Lines, if you don't mind. So okay, Councilor Tallman.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think it's important. I know June is a busy month, but I think it's important, the situation we're in now with, towards the end of the fiscal year, that we do have legal come in to give us an update on the different cases that's going on. I mean, if, you know, maybe with the president, council president, to talk to him and find out what meeting would be a better one, but even a half-hour meeting maybe before our full meeting, so if that's enough time, or an hour meeting to give us an update on all the ongoing cases with the city, because it's been a while. It's been a little while since we've had an update on litigation, you know, against the city. So I think if we contact, you know, the council president, I think that'd be important for us to do that.
Yeah, I think you're right, Pete. So we're meeting, I'm just looking at my calendar. We're looking at June 1st and June 15th for the regular meetings. And then traditionally we do a budget probably on that third Tuesday. So I could foresee that possibly being the budget night. So perhaps on the 1st or 15th, but I like your thinking, Pete, too, is you know, an hour beforehand, someone we can just start on time, and we just have to have some self-discipline and just end it at 7. What time do we start? We start, you know, end it at 6:55, so we can.
Right.
You know, we just have to do that if we could. So, okay, well, we can. I'll take a motion that this has been complied with.
Motion item number 5 has been complied with.
Second.
Motion made and seconded that the order has been complied with. Under discussion. Anything further? Hearing none on the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we'll send that back to full city council. We'll also talk about how it would be our expectation that the council president would confer with the acting mayor and the city solicitor relative to having a special meeting to discuss litigation prior, maybe preferably prior to the 15th, but whenever the council president so desires. You know what, since we're on a roll taking out an order, can we just do that as well? I know Alicia's a patient person, so can we take, thank you, Lisa Ball, for your participation. Okay, can we take, can we suspend and take number 4 out of order, please?
Suspend the rules and take item number 4 off the table for discussion.
Second.
Motion made and second to suspend the rules and remove agenda item number 4 from the table. On the motion, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
The motion, let's see, primarily Mike Sullivan, but Bartley, Greaney, Bacon, order that the City of Holyoke, through its honorable city council and honorable mayor, hereby petition the Mass General Court to enact legislation to establish a process for recalling elected officials in the City of Holyoke, and said legislation be entitled, etc., and that said act read as follows, see attached. Now, does anybody want me to read this whole thing?
We got the copies.
Yeah, we've all got the copy. Okay, so you know, Mike, Councilor Sullivan, I'm sorry using first names. I gotta stop that. But Councilor Sullivan, why don't you give us your perspective on the recall as a refresher to where we are with this, and what this is doing, and what maybe touch on what it doesn't do as well.
Well, you know, what it does is it allows us, by charter, we changed in the charter extending some terms to 4 years. One thing we don't have in there is any kind of a recall provision. Now that it's extended to 4 years, if there was a reason for having to remove an elected official from office, there's no mechanism in there at all. So for me, this is just good government. It's a well-crafted, it's the same document that we've sent twice to the mayor to send on to Boston because it would require approval, you know, by the House and Senate and signed by the governor to do this. It sets a pretty high bar. It requires a petition by the citizens with 250 votes to put to 250 signatures to even get it on the ballot. And the whole thing, in my opinion, was very well thought out, very well put together. You there's protections in there, so it can't be used as a weapon either against the sitting official. And we've passed it twice already. So, and it's word for word, exact same document. That's my.
Yeah, and if I could just follow up with that, Mike, and I want to get Councilor Bacon's perspective on this too, because it was through her chair, and really, I know for a fact Linda read this at least once, but I think it was read twice on camera on the microphone. So I think there's that. But Mike, one thing it does is it says specifically for elected officials whose term is 4 years with more than 12 months remaining in office. I think that's important for voters to realize. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Am I wrong? 5 elected officials with 4-year terms in the city. I believe. So we have a mayor, we have a clerk, we have a treasurer, and we have 2 at-large school committee persons. Am I missing anybody? I don't think I am, but if I'll stand corrected if I am. So that's important. The other thing I just want to point out under before I recognize Councilor Bacon, under F section 3, it says by placing the question on the official ballot to be used in the City of Holyoke at the regular municipal election to be held in the year 2021. I don't know if that's too aggressive, Mike, but I'm just pointing that out. I don't, and I think we also need to hear Acting Mayor Murphy's. Oh, well, I would appreciate Acting Mayor Murphy's perspective, but so I just want to point that out. I don't know if that's aggressive now or not. We'd have to. I'm just throwing out rhetorically, but Councilor Bacon has her hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to speak in favor of this. This was crafted at the time that the 4-year term went into effect, and it was generally perceived that it was pretty common practice that communities that had the extended terms of office also had a recall provision. And so to Councilor Sullivan's point, it was seen as a good government initiative locally and just not supported by the mayor at the time. I still find that it is a good governance act, and I hope our council will support it again and send it to a mayor who will be warm to signing it this time. Relative to the 2021 ballot, I would encourage us to do it if we have time. I imagine there's a clock running on the time to be able to get it on the ballot for this round. I believe it's probably coming up in a month or two. So I think it would be prudent to move it at the next meeting if we can, to see if we do have time. So perhaps we could recommend it to the full body to put it on the 2021 ballot, assuming we can meet the regulatory time limits. Thank you.
Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
thank you, Councilor Bacon. Councilor Greaney, hold on. You're next in the queue. Councilor Tallman is recognized.
Yeah, I agree. I think we voted on this a couple of times and the full council did pass it. It is good government. But I think it might be a little aggressive with the 2021 date. If we can do it, I think we should check with the city clerk next week. I mean, our next Tuesday meeting. But if it doesn't go through, and I know this is a 4-year terms, I'm just wondering the question with the makers of the order, if it doesn't get to go on the ballot, would it wait another 4 years or would it go on as soon as the next 2 years? Because it'll already be, the 4-year term will already be started. So I'm just wondering how that would work. So I agree. I think it should go on as soon as possible, but time-wise, I think we're really close to the clock here.
Well, why don't we, I'll take a motion that we send that we vote to have that we send a communication to the city clerk so that she can advise us on the timetable via communication for the next city council meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay. Under discussion on that. So I think we heard what Councilor Tallman, Councilor Bacon said. It would be great to move this along, but it would be also wise for us to really get an understanding of the timetable. And those are election laws. So we need to get some advice from the city clerk, and we have a regular city council meeting. When is it?
June
Next
1st.
Tuesday, the first.
Oh, okay. So, okay, that's the next one, June 1st. Wow, I'm slipping all day. Sorry. Okay, so so if we could, I think that's enough time for the clerk to get back to us. So, I mean, the law is right there. I mean, she knows when. So, is there any Counselor Murphy has a hand up before we take a vote?
Counselor, you were
Mr. Chairman, I asked to speak.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. Sorry, Terry, hold on. Counselor Greaney, I apologize. Counselor Greaney is recognized.
Yeah, quickly, this thing has been discussed numerous times. We've all read the literature. It's been back and forth. It's been tweaked. I think we should move on it as soon as possible. I agree with the former speakers on this issue, and hopefully that the mayor will sign it. Thank you.
Okay, so right now we have a motion before us to get a communication from the city clerk to advise us on the timetable. Does anyone else want to speak further on that? Counselor Murphy.
Yeah, I'm in favor of this. I would encourage you to actually just recommend it out to the full city council. My expectation is that there is still time, provided we get things through general court, if that's necessary to get it on the ballot. But I'm thinking that you got till mid-July for any ballot work, but I'm not positive. But I would suggest that we do it. We get it. We adopt it. I will sign it. I suggested to Councilor Sullivan a couple of weeks ago, if you want to refile that, I am in favor of this. A couple of things. I'm pretty sure I'm correct, but correct me if I'm wrong. The first year in office, we're not recalling anybody. Am I right in that?
You are right.
Okay, and then the last year in office, we're not recalling somebody.
You are right.
So anything in between, and I just look at Fall River and what happened there without a recall. With a recall, they had all kinds of problems. Without recall, they'd be in a total mess right now. And I think that's hopefully we never get to that situation. But it's certainly something that the citizens should be able to get a chance to remove somebody for cause. And obviously it's up to the citizens to determine what causes. But I encourage you to pass it and send it to the city council. Let's adopt it. I'll sign it. City clerk will do what she can to process it as quickly as she can. And I would think there's a good chance that this can be done. And if not, then it can be done. And whenever it is done, obviously it's all signed, sealed, and delivered. And I would assume it would get on a ballot at some point, regardless of who the next mayor is.
Yeah, so Terry, what I want to do is I want to take the vote first about to getting communication. So that way she's not blindsided next week. And Jeff, once we take the vote, Jeff can send her communication, email it right to her that we took a vote tonight, and we can get a communication put on a public agenda. That's what I want. But Councilor Sullivan has his hand up first. Councilor Sullivan.
Yeah, thanks. This is just a question for the chair. Councilor Bartley, if we were just to strike to be held in year 2021, would that solve all our problems if it just said at the next regular municipal election? That way, if we didn't hear back from the state, until it was too late, we wouldn't have to go through all the contortions again to get it through and headed their way again, just because of that one timeline.
Well, here's the thing. The next municipal election, if we don't get it in 21, then you're looking at 23. So I would say let's get an answer from her, and then if we have to get our law department to clean up the language, because if we could just say at the next regular election, so get rid of municipal and then to be held in the year 2021, if we really want to do that. But I think if we just get a communication from the clerk to say, can we get this in? If we pass it June 1st, you have until the we can get ballot questions certified up until, as Terry said, maybe July, whatever, 15th or whatever. I think that's kind of important. Then that way, and that's all, I think that's all determined by the Secretary of State, I would imagine. I don't think the clerk makes that call, but so if we shift it down to Boston with Rep. Bealis, Rep Duffy, Senator Vilas, I mean, we turned around, the legislature turned around our prior situation with lightning speed. I would think they could make the same effort. But what do I know? Does that answer your question, Mike?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilor Greaney.
just quickly, if we leave this upcoming election on there, it will signify that that's a priority for us and the city council. And I think that's our priority, to get it on the next municipal election, which is coming up very soon. Thank you.
Yeah, good point, Howie. Okay, so just on any further discussion? Hearing, okay, the first vote is going to be to get a communication from the city clerk. On that motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Jeff, if you could just take that vote. That vote was 4-0. If you could just send a communication, please CC the entire DGR committee, if you would. Send a communication to the clerk asking her to give us the election law breakdown relative to the turnaround for this ballot question. I guess I would need another motion to recommend this for approval by the full city council.
Motion to make this resolution passed and sent up to the full city council.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded to receive and adopt this and recommend this for approval to the full city council. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. On the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Okay, so that passes 4-0 for that. Okay. All right. Well, that was pretty good. All right, that was we got through that pretty fast. I will take a third suspension of the rules to take agenda items 2 and suspend the rules. Take agenda items 2 and 3 as a package, please.
Make a motion to suspend the rules and take items number 2 and 3 off the table as a package.
Second.
Motion made a second to suspend to remove agenda items 2 and 3 under discussion. Hearing none on the motion. All in favor? Aye. Item 2, the FY21 spreadsheet for CDBG. Item 3, public notice community development block grant for COVID-19. And lucky for us, we've got the head of the department, Alicia Zeller, with us yet again. Poor Alicia. Oh my gosh.
Hi, Alicia.
Got to be saying it. So,
Good evening.
why don't I deserve this again?
You're doing a great job.
Yep. Okay, hold on, Alicia. I just want to get in my computer. Okay, I should have printed this beforehand, but it'll take a half a second to print. There's 1 and then 2. All right. Okay. Alicia and Terry, my compliments to you both. But why don't we, maybe we should have Terry go first. Terry, why don't you tell us about the, it says FY21 spreadsheet. I don't know if it's July 1, 21 to June 30th, 22. So Terry, we took we had another long, 3.5-hour meeting on this stuff, but it was a great meeting because, having the mayor here with us was just, from my perspective, fantastic. It was really a great discussion. So I thought maybe we would start this part with you kind of walking us through what happened with the prior one, and then maybe Alicia could take over from there and tell us what's going on with the proposed reprogramming. Alicia, is that okay? All right. Terry, do you want to just give us a little walkthrough?
Before I go anywhere, let me thank Alicia, because we spent, after the DGR committee, we went and I tried to honor as many of the DGR recommendations as possible while getting as many different things incorporated. Using some of this other money, this other COVID money helped us do a few things. We reprogrammed things to get a few things. So if you really look at the first page, I made a slight cut in the neighborhood improvement program, but it's still at $56,000 more than it was last year. In order to do, part of doing that was to put some money into the sanitary sewer and storm drain rehab, which, you know, there's concerns that we've got some potential cave-ins and we need to get checking these things out. This will be mostly the inspection. There'll be a reprogramming coming up after that to actually do some new piping or new lining, I guess it's called. Mike, you correct me if I'm construction wrong here, okay? And then after that, I did go in the Foley Ingleside Park and the handball court, as well as the Wisteria Hearst Museum. The Department of Public Works sidewalks, I kept that the same. The small business grant, I did the same as the DGR committee. And then the facade improvement program, because we did some other programming, we were able to up that by $10,000. If you go into the public service area, and a lot of this, again, I could not have done this without Alicia. I want to keep emphasizing that. She is whoever becomes the mayor in 6 months, if you don't use her, with all due respect, you're not very intelligent. So let me just leave it like that.
Yeah, well, there's a resume builder, but all right, we'll keep going, Terry.
All right, so Boys and Girls Club, the targeted literacy program, I was able to get another $5,000 into that. The Girls Inc. Strong, Smart and Bold, we were able to keep the 15. The Alternatives for Youth at the YMCA, we were able to get another couple of thousand in there. We were able to do the back to school event and add another 1,000 in there. The after school tutoring and homework house, we were able to get another 2,000 in there. Notice that the Elders Disabled Meals Program, I didn't fund here, but it's because I'm able to fund it with the food equity part of the COVID, and I actually was able to give more money. So again, Lisa was very kind in straightening that out or helping me figure that out. The Working for the Future was the same. The Spark for Holyoke was the same. The Loretta House was the same. The Margaret's Pantry, same situation as the Food for the Elderly. Because we could use that in the food equity program, I was able to get more money there, and that money we saved here was able to be used somewhere else. The domestic violence, I was able to up that by 1990. And with the COVID, that has been an issue going on. The One Holyoke Keep It Clean, I was able to give them another opportunity to do another clean event. And the rest, I believe, stayed the same. So out of that, we were able to make those adjustments, which we thought emphasized the fact that kids are going to need extra tutoring. They're going to need extra services in order to have a chance to catch up with all the lost educational things, all the lost social events. And with what we're going to do in the next line item, we were able to do air conditioning systems, which are going to improve air quality, as well as many of the food programs, and expand the food programs, both for the elderly, for the poor, the women. It was a home run all the way around. And again, I tried to honor the DGR as much as I could. With Alicia's help, I think we were able to even expand upon that and get more things done.
Yeah, I don't really have, I mean, it would just be quibbling, and that's not fair. So I think in this case, the mayor really listened, because the mayor participated, and that made a huge difference to me. And if I could give my editorial, I would hope that any future mayor would want to participate hands-on during the DGR process. So that would certainly, I think, add to future discussions. Councillor Tallman.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Mayor Murphy. I think everything you did was really well done, and with the help of Alicia, especially the food programs. Just one question on the public services for the fair housing. Is there another way that they're going to get some help? Because I seen that was taken out.
Where's that one, Pete?
Fair housing?
Oh, yeah, okay, mass fair housing, yes.
Legal services, I was just wondering.
Thank you.
And Lisa, you correct me if I'm wrong, but my memory is going to hopefully be correct. If I'm not mistaken, they still had money left that they hadn't used as of yet. So rather than continue to give them money, without accounting for what they have already done, we thought this was a chance that we could do other things. If in fact they do it and they end up expending the money the way we wanted to spend the money, and they come back, we potentially can deal with that as it comes in. But for right now,
we're set.
We had not received any report on what they've spent so far and what they've accomplished. So we thought, at this point, I got a chance to do other things with people that we have made the reports and have that direct impact. So.
Okay, and I want to thank you again. I think listening to us and the full council about the women's shelter, the domestic violence intervention, I think that's important, especially with COVID, the number of calls they've gotten. And I want to thank you for increasing that amount too.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you, Councilor.
Mr. Chairman?
Councilor Greaney.
Yeah, it's good to have a CEO in room one. Thanks, Terry.
Great, Howie.
Howie, don't be like your cousin Bartley. All right, now one thing I did see on here, Terry and Alicia, just the farmers market manager. So that was zeroed out all the way across the board. And then we go to the reprogramming and we see a $13,000 request by OCD. So where are we with this one, Alicia or Terry?
Well, again, going to the idea of all this money can be used, food equity being one of the major COVID issues, if you will. What we tried to do is put as much money into the food programs as we could. And that's why we did fund that, which was down on Race Street. We did try to increase Margaret's Pantry, and we did increase Meals on Wheels in all of those cases. And basically, without what we did, I don't think there would be any farmers market. And believe me, I lobbied them to give me more information. I got some information, but they need to work on getting it better. I mean, just leave it at that. But I did believe that there are people down there. They are getting low-income people are getting some advantage in terms of being able to buy things, and it's down there in Ward 1, Ward 2, and so that was my logic for that. And it was not something I was as openly comfortable as I was on others, but I did think it had some constituents that needed that service, and it was potentially in their neighborhood to be able to get it to them relatively comfortable.
Okay, and just so I'm clear, let me make sure I say it right. The farmers market manager, who do we have a manager yet for this position, or do we advertise for that?
As I understand, and Lisa, you can, I believe they have one until July, and then they are now advertising for a new one. And I other than that, I don't know what else is going on there, but that is what I've been told.
Alicia, you can turn your mic on. So we'll just, so we don't have to spend, so you're part of this discussion. So Alicia, go ahead.
So the Chamber of Commerce has notified us that the existing market manager will be leaving for July 1st, and they are in the process of hiring a replacement prior to Charlie's departure, so that there can be some training and overlap of the two managers. So hopefully there'll be a seamless transition. I will say that through the original allocation process, the farmers market manager position was originally zeroed out, recommended for zeroing by OCD staff, because there had been quite a bit of turmoil and transition, and we weren't really sure. And then we received some additional information from Jordan Hart, the new executive director, that provided some assurances that they did have a farmers market plan, that there was a new location, that there were a number of vendors that were being signed up, and that the chamber was ready to move with the farmers market. They also indicated that the farmers market was aligning with a new committee in the City of Holyoke, a food collective committee. And so after we had received that additional information, it seemed clear that supporting them for one more year before they could become fully financially independent made some sense.
Thank you for that. And then I don't know if anybody, but I think Jordan would be a perfect person to have appear before this committee at some point. So I'll file that order if anybody wants to co-file it with me. Okay, so just
And I would think she'd be very happy to do that.
okay, I'll just put everybody in the Zoomer here on there, unless you say otherwise, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Howie, yeah, go ahead, Howie.
Just quickly, I want to thank Alicia for these spreadsheets. You know, the last couple of years, they've been great. They make it almost understandable for us to do this work. So thanks, Alicia. They're great. Keep these spreadsheets coming. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, Howie, it's the Jeopardy game that I missed from being in chambers when the numbers are changing, and man, it's exciting to see the board. I'll tell you. Wait till we expand that technology, Howie. It's going to be.
Well, Councilor Bartley, I even know how to balance a checkbook now.
I'm going to stop there before I get in trouble. Okay. With that, those are my comments. Any other council? Okay. Now, Alicia, Councilor Bacon.
I just want to make a quick comment, and I want to thank everybody for the work that they did on this, because I wasn't that active in it and I haven't been for a while, but years ago I was an applicant. So I have an appreciation for the process and how involved it really is. And I do appreciate all the work that you've all done.
Thanks, Linda.
Yeah, no, I'll echo that, because the committee really, you know, Mike Sullivan really deserves a lot of credit, because he's been on the advisory committee, and now he's also on the CPA committee. That's just another one just for the public to be aware of. But those are, you know, voluntary appointments by the city council president, and Mike stepped up for both of those. Yeah, so those are okay. Councilor Sullivan has his hand up. Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, and thanks for that, David. I just want to be clear with everybody. I was on for 5 years. I was not on in the last term, in the last go around.
Well, it's 5 more years than any of us did. So, so there you go. Okay. Although I pinch hit 1 year, I think I was there for about a cup of coffee. Then I had to go to a finance committee meeting. So that was.
We were down at the library. You did a good job that night, Dave.
Pete, I was there for like 10 minutes. I had to run to a finance committee meeting. So that was the problem with the meeting, the schedule of it. But I was there. I think the record will show I was there. Okay. What about okay, so we kind of ran through our paces on the spreadsheet. But what about for the reprogramming? Do we need, Alicia? Do we need to take any? I see a spreadsheet here, but I don't see anything from CAC. I mean, do we need to?
So what we did was we identified. Let me take a step back. You'll remember last spring and last summer, the City of Holyoke received an allocation of CDBG CV funds. Those were the community development block grant funds that were to be specifically allocated to addressing COVID. And there was a spreadsheet back then, and there were a number of activities that were funded. Many of those activities launched and have been underway, successful, serving the community. A few of those activities have not moved, and the scope of services, as time and pandemic conditions have changed, their original intent sort of fell away. And so in order to move that money, what we did was we took a look at the applications that had come in through the regular CDBG program, identified those that could use CDBG CV funds that could have a COVID tie, like food access. Figured out how much money we have left over in the CV account, worked with the folks that had originally applied, determined what they were willing to forfeit or give back. And so we're looking at about $335,000 in COVID money that's not moving. And what we did was we requested folks who needed additional funds to address the pandemic to either submit a new application or send us a letter of intent authorizing us to move them from the regular CDBG program to the CV program. And what I'm going to do is, if you want to play Jeopardy, and Councilor GREANEY, I apologize that you're not going to be able to see this at home, but we can play a bit of Jeopardy. Can everyone see, is everyone seeing the screen with the spreadsheet on it?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
So what we're giving up, and I apologize.
Alicia,
yep.
Alicia, hold on a second. Howie, can you see us on the TV?
I have the spreadsheet in hard copy, Dave. It's the same thing I have. And I only have one question on it after Alicia gets done.
Okay, and Counselor Sullivan has his hand up. So, Mike, did you want to address this on this? Mike, you muted yourself. Mike? Thank you.
Yep, I gotta take my hand down here.
Okay, you all set. Okay, Alicia, go ahead.
Okay, and my apologies for not looking at you all. I'm working on dual screens and I have the spreadsheet on a large screen next to me.
No problem.
We identified 4 projects where we wanted to do some reallocation. Those are the pandemic response, masks, pedestrian improvements, and small business grants. And you'll see those there, and that totals $335,800. We then asked our agencies and our city departments what they could use for additional COVID funds. And these are the proposals that were received. We received $418,611 worth of proposals. The Boys and Girls Club asked for money for some specialized cleaning equipment, for a meal tray sealer so they could better provide meals to the community. The farmers market is requesting that $13,000 for the farmers market manager. Margaret's Pantry, the $40,000. Western Mass Elder Care Meals on Wheels at $45,000. Women's Shelter Domestic Violence Assistance at $10,000. And then in the public facilities realm, we had a couple of proposals in the original CDBG round that would also be eligible as CV funds. And so those you'll see got moved over to this reprogramming as well. That's HVAC improvements for 480 Hamden Street for Girls Inc. The Holyoke Boys and Girls Club are doing some bathroom renovations at 52 Nick Cosmos. So there's additional bathroom facilities for the staff and children to use. The Health Center asked for funding for a parking lot at 230 Maple Street. And then we have HVAC improvements proposed at the Holyoke YMCA and at Valley Opportunity. And then the CAC, we did hold a public hearing. The CAC did not have enough folks attend to put together recommendations. I'm not as concerned because this really is a reprogramming and we've been soliciting public comments. And so I'm here tonight to have you all weigh in. If you want to weigh in, if you want to adopt the OCD recommendations, this is just your opportunity. These funds are already accepted. They're already here in the city, but this is a reconfiguration. Sometimes we can do reconfigurations without doing a public process. The level of this reconfiguration does require us to do a public process. So I'm seeking your input on this.
Mr. Chairman?
I'm
sorry. Just a couple of questions. The Holyoke Health Center, the OCD recommends nothing for that 55 grand for the parking lot, and Valley Opportunity Council recommend nothing for the 35,000 for the HVAC improvements at 300 High Street. Okay, I understand that, but did you, just a quick question, did you get any requests from the senior center for equipment for transport chairs, wheelchairs, or anything like that at all?
No, the proposals that you see on the spreadsheet are the proposals that we received.
Okay, all right.
I will add,
thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome. I will add that very shortly the city is going to be receiving a very significant sum of funds where some of these public facility air quality type projects, health related projects may be funded through that cycle. I'm not ready tonight to discuss it any further, but there's more money coming. But again, I'm happy to take any other questions, or if you want to pass on your recommendations, if you want to make recommendations.
Well, I just want to just mention to Councilor Greaney, because Councilor Greaney mentioned the same entity, if you will, at the last full city council meeting, and I mentioned tonight. So maybe this would be a way for Councilor Greaney to sort of communicate that to the senior center director, that there's a possibility to get in touch with Alicia, or Alicia, you can just get in touch with her directly, or however you do it, just to publicize that there's, when the time is right, that there's more funds coming that might help with public service type matters. Okay.
Yeah, Councilor Bartley, I intend to do that. The senior center is reopening, I understand, on June 7th. So that's good news for all the seniors in Holyoke anyways.
Oh, 50-cent copies, here we come. Okay, all right, Counselor Bacon.
Thank you. I might be going back in time too far, but just looking at the spreadsheet, I'm a little confused as to why DPW would be giving money back for pedestrian improvements with all the needs that we generally keep hearing about that. Or was it in a specific category that was very narrow?
That's a great question. Yes, the DPW had applied for $110,000 for COVID-related pedestrian and bicycle improvements. Mm-hmm. And this was in the first round of COVID way back in the spring. It was a project out of the mayor's office. And the thought was perhaps to ensure social distancing over the summer months, that they would do like bike paths and walking paths, close down streets, that sort of thing. The project never launched. As the pandemic moved along, the idea of needing to close down streets or widen, it fell away. So they are COVID specific dollars.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilor Tallman?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Alicia. I just want to make a recommendation that we go along with the OCD reprogram numbers. I was glad to hear that if there is money coming in within the next couple of months, that the HVAC improvements may be able to be utilized. And so even though it's zeroed out right now, that for 300 high, that maybe they'd be able to get something. And also to let the, I'm sure the senior center is aware of that down the road. If they need some extra money, there'll be other program money coming in. So just one quick question. There's a difference of about $7,000 there with the numbers. What happens there with that money?
So what we'll do is we'll leave that $7,000 in one of the for right now we'll leave it probably in the if this is the way it goes and this is what the mayor decides, we'll probably leave the extra $7,000 in the general Board of Health pandemic response line item, so that as things kind of get into the summer and the Board of Health sees how vaccinations go and that sort of thing, they'll have a little bit of money there to respond as necessary. It's not as specific as just being able to buy masks, like that initial 25,000. So that would be my suggestion, is we leave the extra money there for them.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, and just following up what Councilor Bacon said, do you want to just touch on the other three sources of revenue as to why we're not?
Sure. So the Board of Health had received a significant allocation of CDBG CV funds in what a general description was described as pandemic response. At the time the application was submitted, we really weren't sure what that looked like. And now that time has moved on, those funds weren't needed. A lot of the activities that the Board of Health thought they were going to need to fund was funded through the CARES Act. It turns out that they were really concerned about food access, and food access has been coming in through all kinds of other sources. The masks, the Board of Health again thought they would be in a position where they would have to be buying masks for the community, and that has not been the case. I explained the pedestrian improvements, and then the 100,000, the small business grants, was going to be community development block grants, CV grants for small businesses. And we unfortunately lost some capacity in town to get that program up and launched. The chamber had done some grants. And so we're sort of pivoting on our small business grant program. And I've been working with Acting Mayor Murphy on how to get it launched pretty quickly, but with some other funds. So we'd like to move on from the CDBG CV funds to a more flexible funding stream.
Well, when you say go ahead.
HUD keeps tabs on how much money the community is spending and how we're doing and who we're serving, because we're constantly providing them with the data from on the ground. And so we don't want to be in a position where these dollars are lingering too long. So this really is the best approach.
And just if you can expand on what you meant by lost capacity, I wasn't clear on that part.
Sure. So administration, so sometimes when we do a program, for instance, when we give money to Western Mass Elder Care, we're giving them money to provide a service that they are in the business of providing. So they do Meals on Wheels, and they do it with our money and other kinds of funding streams as well. And that's what they do. When we provide like small business grants, we have to have an agency that is capable and has the personnel capacity to administer the program. It's a very time-intensive, labor-intensive program to administer because someone has to sit with the businesses, work one-on-one, make decisions around their, their business finances, whether this is an application that is compliant with the CDBG program, whether or not the job retention meets the CDBG regulations. And at the moment, within City Hall, we didn't identify a person that could take on that much money and administer the program. And then we had been working with the chamber, and unfortunately, it's now down to Jordan. And Jordan was concerned about her ability to do it by herself. So instead of letting those dollars sit, we're gonna move on to the next item, and then we are working to figure out a better way to approach the small business grant program. So it could be providing that money to a different agency entirely. It could be more of a team approach, that sort of thing. So I think I mentioned it. I think I mentioned it in the last meeting that I had with you all, that one of the concerns that I have in the city of Holyoke is the capacity of our nonprofits, that we're going to see a lot of money flowing into the city. And, many of our nonprofits are operating on a shoestring. And so although the funding keeps coming and coming, the ability to ramp up to provide some of these services is challenging. It's absolutely challenging. So, we've had so much, turnover and staff loss around City Hall that just as you get a program up and running, folks depart. So I don't want this money to sit. I hate to turn it away from the small business program. I hate to say that we're gonna reduce the funding level there. This isn't going to eliminate it. We still have funding available for small businesses. It's just going to reduce it until we can improve the capacity.
Well, that's something that you're probably gonna have to discuss with the acting mayor. It sounds like it down after the new year. We're gonna have to, you hate to turn away. You hate to turn away funds for sure, especially if it's gonna help small businesses. But we've got to. When I hear a lost capacity in the nonprofit world in the city of Holyoke, that sounds disingenuous and sounds disconnect. Not disingenuous. Sorry, it sounds like there's a disconnect on that, and because Holyoke we have a lot of nonprofit entities. But I hear what you're saying. It's not the proper. We don't have the proper channels for some of this, so that's got to be reviewed, possibly with the acting mayor and with OCD as well. I would think that would be a way to do that. Okay. Does anyone have questions for Alicia at this point? Does anyone want to second Councilor Tallman's motion? And the motion, just to remind you, was to accept and adopt the recommendations of OCD.
Second.
So I heard her second that. Is Acting Mayor Murphy still with us? I can't. He's not on my. Can you knock us off the Jeopardy version? Alicia, put back the regular screen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it. Okay. Acting Mayor Murphy, did you want to comment on any of the OCD recommendations at this stage?
I think what we're trying to do is get the money and use it as quickly and as wisely as possible. I think what we're doing is going to be making air quality standards in some of those facilities for the summer months a lot better. And I do think, there are other things that we will look at as we go along, but right now, I think what's being recommended will get us the maximum benefit in the quickest time. I would encourage you to continue along that lines. And that's what we've tried to do. We want to get the most positive impact as quickly as possible and as consistent as possible.
I want to recognize Councilor McGivern, who's joined us, who is the Lou Gehrig of City Council meetings. All right, so he keeps the streak intact. I was worried there for about.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Friends of the Holyoke merry-go-round say hi.
and we say hi back.
We say hi.
Mr. Chairman, Cal Ripken would be better because Mr. McGivern is much younger and much better looking.
Well, I would defer to Councilor Greene. He's a better sportsman than me, that's for sure. So I agree with you, Howie. Okay, so so the motion's been made and seconded to adopt the recommendations of OCD. And just to the acting mayors. So we have heard and we continue to hear a lot about food access and food insecurity. And I think, those of us in this Zoom meeting, that's all well and good. The 10 or 12 or 15 of us that are here now and those watching at home, all well and good, they're hearing it. But I would hope, Terry, that we can really push that out to the public a lot more about what the city is doing in terms of trying to engage people and trying to say that hey, the city of Holyoke, once again, I know we're doing it with tax dollars, but once again, is stepping up to take the initiative. And we didn't have to, you didn't have to do this, but to take the initiative to make sure that there is access to food, especially those that are a lot less fortunate than us in this Zoom meeting. Okay, so I would hope that if this passes tonight and it passes next Tuesday, that we would really, and goes through you, of course. I mean, we're just advising. You're really making the call, but I would hope that we could promote this to the extent we can. So I think that's important. Any other questions on the motion? Comments, concerns? Hearing none on the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Passes 4-0. Okay. Now I have it at 7:38 p.m.
Do we
take that finance committee and ordinance committee? How fast this one went?
Dave,
Okay. Councilor Tallman has his hand raised.
Yeah, just a quick question. Does that take care of both of those we approved, 2 and 3 together?
Yeah, Pete. So
Okay.
two is done. But we wanted to have a brief discussion on that. So we're not going to.
Okay.
That's not going to go back to full city council.
Okay, so 3. Okay.
Yeah. Two was kind of sent just so we can have a discussion. Sent back to us, and 3 will go forward to full city council.
Super.
All right. Okay. Item 6 is just for information. It's June 14th, our next meeting. We're gonna have a little more aggressive agenda at that meeting. So it won't be an hour and 9 minutes. It'll probably be back to our regular 3 hours. But at least we got through this one in a speedy fashion for us. Okay.
Okay.
Alicia wants you, Chairman.
Yes, Alicia, go ahead.
So just as a preview, the June 14th is a DGR committee meeting.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to be forwarding to you another. I wanted to get it on tonight's agenda, and we didn't get enough notice to finalize it. But there is going to be another reprogramming coming to you for June 14th. Acting Mayor Murphy has been working with us to really move our CDBG funds into things that are so critical. And so for June 14th, you're going to be seeing a reprogramming of regular CDBG funds to address the failed retaining wall along Pine Street. So I just want to give you the heads up for that.
Okay, that's a one issue reprogramming?
It is. It's going to be a one issue. We've identified some funding sources, some leftover money, and we're going to request a review of reprogramming to the Pine Street retaining wall. Probably to the tune of 350,000.
Okay. Well, Councilor Sullivan, are you aware of this?
Well, I'm here for the first time in about a couple of years. Maybe this is Wisteria-Hurst.
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I went by it the other day. Yeah, it's all crumbling and there's it's blocked off a little bit. Okay, wow, that's expensive. So to build up that wall again, it's about 300,000, Alicia?
At least. The whole wall has failed.
Yeah, I saw it myself. So
we've been working with Acting Mayor Murphy and Bob Parent and Kate Preisler to figure out funding sources, and we've identified some CDBG. It is, like I said, it's going to be a reprogramming. I'll send you all the documentation. You'll get another spreadsheet with where we're taking money from and what we're putting it towards, but it's going to be at least 300,000. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. And that's going to be time sensitive. So if we could make sure that gets on the June 14th agenda.
Okay. Just
Chairman?
while we're in that neighborhood, I know we're off topic, but if somebody could look at the corner of Pine and Essex and let me know what's happening with that house that moved at some point, that'd be marvelous.
I can-
Go
I
ahead,
can
Alicia.
fill you in on that as well.
Yeah, you know what? Can you send us a communication for next city? Because I don't want to do open meeting law
Nope,
problems
that's
here, but
fine.
if you could send us a communication on that, that'd be. Councilor McGivern has his hand up first. Councilor Sullivan is second. Councilor McGivern.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to the committee, all the committee members. I know I had made the motion and asked that the recall election language be placed into the DGR. That was taken up tonight, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and I had half an ear on the TV while I was in my other meeting, and I caught the gist of most of what was said, but I just wanted to know that I appreciate you taking it up. I will view the videotape before next Tuesday, and I have had a chance now since then to read it, and I know Councilor Sullivan had the patience to allow this to happen, so I appreciate that, Michael. But I just wanted to let you know that and appreciate you taking it up tonight.
I didn't have the patience. I didn't have the votes to go forward.
I said patience with a little tongue in cheek there, my friend.
Well, as we found out, sometimes it's 2/3, sometimes it's majority. We don't know. We just like play. It's like 52 pickup, but we don't know. We don't know
We're still going to have some discussion on that one, but
More discussion.
Oh God, yeah, but we want to be careful open meeting law. I don't want another letter in my email box. Councilor Sullivan.
Nothing bad. Just
Councilor Sullivan.
it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Councilor Mike, go ahead.
Yep. No, I just, back to the wall issue, I just wanted to make the one comment. Once again, this is something that we've been aware of, we warned about several years ago. And once again, the city failed to take action on it until it hit the sidewalk or hit the street.
Yep.
Acting Mayor Murphy knows where I'm going with this. It's something we've been fighting.
Well, yeah. That's usually my role is be the dark cloud on that former administration, but we're not going to go there anymore. Okay, I think we got one more motion before us, and that'll be a wrapper.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made in second to adjourn, non-debatable. On the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Have a
We'll see
good
you
night,
June-
Good night,
everybody.
everybody.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
see you
next
June
meeting.
14th. Thank you.